But what we learn is that you really can only do one thing at a time.
I was talking to someone who was really dealing with some challenges in the workspace and helping her to realize that on the surface, it may be that this person is not operating fairly, but what we do have to understand is that
you got it in this class. So we are so thankful for Dawn, thankful for her time, thankful for her effort in putting all of this together to craft something.
I thought she did a phenomenal job. I feel like this has, again, been one of the more relevant trainings.
Hey, everybody. Yes. Welcome to the Leaders Lounge. I am Dawn Morris, your hostess, and this is an extension of the World Class Training Institute, which is an organization that is designed to maximize human capital, and we do that through the delivery of leadership and professional development training programs. Here in the Leaders Lounge, it is your space as leaders, as growing professionals, to get insight that is going to give you and a refreshing for how you can best lead your teams and lead yourselves. Here I have my book, which is World Class, which is Unpacking Agape, the 7 Languages of Intentional Leadership. And you can pick that book up at worldclasstraining.net/agape. And that's just going to scroll across the bottom of your screen while we're here for these few moments. So let's get into it. Y'all, I've been in the corporate world for a long time. I've been in business for a while now. And I have to address this one because I want to help our leaders and our business professionals to really be able to navigate the world of communication modes. What do I mean by that? Well, you have the opportunity today through technology to communicate through so many different channels. You have, of course, text messaging, you have email, you have verbal communication, believe it or not. And you also have, some people even do a lot through these chats and Google chats and all of those kinds of things, Teams and all of that at work, right? And all of those have value and they have a place. Today, I want to quickly talk about the use of email because a lot of companies, a lot of people, of course, utilize email, and it is a valuable resource to get information communicated from one person to another when you cannot have that verbal conversation. Check what I just said. When you cannot have the verbal conversation, when I say cannot, it just might not be that the time is best, or you also want to document whatever it was that you discussed. So I may have a conversation that I want to make sure is memorialized so that that person and I think it's that person and I are on the same page, right? So the way that I do that is I talk to the person, we have a conversation, and then I'll go to my email to make sure that I memorialize it in an email format. Email, my leaders, should not be the primary mode of communication when you first are addressing matters of sensitivity. So I'll give you a quick example. I had a situation where someone came to me because they were on a team and that person was terminated by email. And then that same person who terminated the person by email also asked the person to return their technology. What do you think? How do you think that happened? How do you think that went? Not very well. Why? Because now the person is angry. Now, of course, the leader could withhold the paycheck or deduct, I believe. Don't quote me on this because I might not be totally in line with the law, but I believe that there may be some mitigation that can happen with regards to the person's last paycheck if the person doesn't turn the equipment back in. I believe that can happen. Not totally sure. But what I am sure of is this: having been in corporate America for a long time, having been in business for a long time, the way that should not have been handled is by first going to email communication to let that person know. Why? Well, first thing is, now this person is having to search down equipment, where if they had reversed that and had the conversation on the front end, got the equipment, and then let the person go, then you're not racing, because now this person is racing to try to get their equipment back. Second thing is this: when you're having difficult conversations, you do not want to have those conversations in an email format. You do not want to go back and forth with people on email. Why is that not a good idea? Well, because email is not a place where you can hear their tone, where you're able to see their body language even, and where you can have an immediate exchange with them. Now, when you are dealing with sensitive matters, you want to be able to at least hear the person's tone of voice, because how they write it in an email can be very different than how they meant it. And the difference lies in their tone. Believe it or not, when you're looking at this thing called the communication pie, only 7% of how we communicate resides in words. The rest of it is in our tone of language and our body language. And I'm going to show you a quick example to demonstrate that. The first thing is I can say, "How may I help you?" Plain statement, right? Now let's mix that up. Same words, and it's going to have a different meaning depending on this. First, my tone and where I inflect. "How may I help you?" Based on that switch up, it's "How may I help you?" Right? So now the emphasis is on me helping you. The next one, and I sound like I want to be the person to help you, right? Next way, I say, "How may I help you?" My emphasis now has shifted to, in what way may I be able to assist you? Third thing, "How may I help you?" So if I say it like that, there's kind of an implication that there are other people who are around, but my focus is on you as opposed to the other people who are around. So by me just shifting the inflection in my voice on different parts of that same sentence, the meaning becomes different. And so that's why you want to listen in a verbal conversation to another person, especially when you are dealing with matters of sensitivity, because how you're reading it can be based on what's going on in your head. It can be based on other environmental factors. It can be based on your opinion of that person. And so you're not really giving way to the other 93% of communication when you just reside on the words that you read in an email. So, leaders, you want to make sure that you use email as a complement, not your whole meal. Yes, there are times when email is definitely the mode that you want to use as your primary choice. Confirming appointments, email is a great way to do it. Again, memorializing conversations, especially conversations of sensitivity. Afterwards, you want to go back and you want to memorialize that. The other thing is even to start an appointment discussion. I send emails a lot of times to potential clients or clients who I'm dealing with to say, "Hey, what are these 3 times that are available so that person can read it at a later date. Those things are they're great for email. But when you are dealing with matters of a sensitive nature or matters that are conflicted in nature, where you and that person are at conflict, you do not want to have that live in an email conversation. And I always watch Judge Milian on People's Court, and she says, say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Because what you put in an email can live and live and live and be forwarded and passed on and copied and pasted and printed, all of that stuff. So you don't want to have heated information in an email. And the other thing is, at companies, and even in any instance, email can be discoverable if it has to go to court. So I'm not saying doing anything shady. I'm saying you have to be careful what you write, because you don't want to be someone who in a heated moment says something that can be held against you in a court of law. So be careful about all of those things. Use email as a complement, not your primary mode of communication. Take a moment, take some time, schedule a conversation with people who are your primary stakeholders or even secondary stakeholders. Have that conversation. Use the email to memorialize it. Use a text message to memorialize it. Use it to schedule an appointment, but do not use it to have your primary conversations going back and forth. It is not the most effective way, okay? So again, Unpacking Agape, the 7 languages of intentional leadership. Make sure that you get it at worldclasstraining.net/agape. If you're interested in leadership and professional development training for your team, then go to worldclasstraining.net. Go to the bottom and then schedule a meeting with me, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you to talk about bringing leadership and professional development training to your organization. All right. So make sure that you do those things, and always remember, here at the World Class Training Institute, when you are better, we are absolutely better. Take care. Bye.